Hello, everyone. Today I wanted to talk about an issue that affects every single human being on the planet, and it's affecting people right now as we speak. I saw something on the news that actually alarmed me, and I'm not somebody that takes information and runs away in fear, but this actually opened my eyes. It was talking about a development that was built, and it was built for people over, I think, age 55 or 60. It wasn't here, so I had never heard of this place. We have those too. We have little villages that are built, and they're beautiful homes. They're built for 55 and up communities, people that no longer have children in their house. They can usually have like one dog or one cat. And it's a community of people around the same age. And in the news, what I saw was a bunch of folks built homes thinking that's where they were going to live out the rest of their days and retire. Except that something happened. I don't know all the details, so I can't really speak to it. But the bottom line was the prices skyrocketed and they can no longer live there. Years ago, when I was a small child, the town built a bunch of housing for seniors. As I've gotten older, and as the town has gotten older, and as people have gotten older, companies are coming in and buying up the houses that go up for sale. And I've heard about this happening in Florida, I believe, too. And then they're turning around. They don't renovate them or anything. They just leave them like they are, even if they need work. And they charge an arm and a leg. We're talking $2,500 to $3,000 a month to live there. Also, down by my grocery store in town, there's several here, but this main one, there is an apartment complex only for senior citizens. We also have a beautiful senior center. They have a shuttle. They pick people up and bring them to the senior center. And if you're a member, that shuttle is like free. If you're not, it's like $2. So we have a lot of pride in our community for our elderly senior citizens. After COVID, there was a building boom here. While other locations were reporting that the building had slowed down, the building here actually ramped up. These companies came in, these giant, large companies, and they started buying up any vacant land. If you wanted to buy land to build a house, forget about it, because they sweep them all up before anybody even knows about it. And they're building these massive, massive apartment housings. One of them, the view from like the top floor where you would think you'd be getting like the nicest suite up top, no. The view are giant, massive water tanks because they have to have a way for the whole building to have water. It's not a pleasant thing to look at. It's basically an eyesore. These are the type of things popping up around here, and there's more to come. At some point in history, there were these hospitals for mentally ill patients, and they let them out and closed the doors. They closed all the doors and kicked everybody on the street. I remember going to a diner type of place one day, waiting for my lunch, and a guy came in and he had just been let out. He had nowhere to go. He was basically homeless. I couldn't believe it. So the town compensated by allowing younger people, if they had a diagnosis or if they were discharged from this hospital that closed, they allowed them to stay in the senior housing developments. So at some point that occurred, and now we have a mixture. All these senior housing complexes, except for the private ones that people have built, like the houses that were built for people 55 and over, those are their own like little subdivisions. But anywhere else, there is a apartment house or apartment building that's only for senior living. They now allow anybody, any age, if they have a diagnosis, they can live there too, because they're like rent controlled. So that brings me to the point I want to make today about this, and it's people's needs change as they get older. So right now, we have the old senior citizen complexes that were built probably in the 80s. Nothing recent. Now all the building is focused around these giant, massive apartment complexes, but the rents are astronomical. There's no way a senior citizen on a fixed income could pay that for rent. The least expensive unit I've seen is around $1,800, and that's basically a studio. So there's just no way. And in addition, in the poverty area, because these companies come in and sweep up everything that's for sale, they are now turning them into rentals and charging an arm and a leg. So there's less and less places for senior citizens to live without going into assisted living, going into a nursing home, or going to live with family. Now about that, assisted living around here is not a nursing home. I told somebody about it once and they thought I meant a nursing home, and no. Assisted living is actually like its own little villa where it's all inclusive in a building. And it has multiple floors, and you might have a barber and a hairdresser on the first floor, and you have a snack shop, you have a convenience store, and then there's a nursing wing. But the people that live there actually have their own apartment. They own them. They can renovate them. There's also elevators to make it easy and convenient to come down the floors. And there's also usually entertainment, meaning they have a big hall for bingo, stuff like that, movie time. There's also usually large areas for food, and they get their meals there unless they want to go out and get food. The cafeteria at these places actually makes all the food, and they're posh. They're not like a food court at the mall. They're like carpeted, glamorous, beautiful satin curtains, like think Gone with the Wind. And they all enjoy meals together, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. But in order to get into one of these places, there's a waiting list. We have quite a few around here too, but they're very hard to get into. But it's not just that, but you have to have a lot of money. It's not like you can just give them $1,000 down. You have to really have like $500,000 and up. And I don't even know of any for $500,000 around here. I mean, I'm talking $800,000, $1 million. That's what it takes to get into one of those places. But there's a waiting list. So then the other option, of course, is a nursing home. But if you're able to get around, you don't have any health problems, you don't need round-the-clock care, who would want that? I have elderly relatives that live on their own. I had an aunt that lived over 100 and she lived on her own. She had all her faculties. She could serve herself meals. So just because somebody is a senior citizen doesn't mean they need a nursing home. Also, because of how expensive it is for an apartment, if somebody doesn't own their own home and they have a mother or father who needs to come live with them, now you're talking about $3,500 to $4,000 a month in rent because you need a bigger apartment to accommodate your senior citizen relative. But even more important than that, nobody is planning for this. All of these apartment buildings that are being renovated and built and everything that are going up like the speed of light right now, there are actually several hotels here that were converted to very expensive apartments. So even a hotel that now has a studio for rent is like $2,000 a month. Nobody is planning for aging in place or ADA living. If you're an older person, you probably already know that at some point in your life, you might need grab bars to hold on to in the shower so you don't fall. You might need grab bars on the wall to get in and out of a bathtub. You might be thinking, well, I don't need a bathtub at this age. I want a shower. I never take a bath. It's hard for me to get in and out of a tub. I don't want to fall. I'd rather have a shower. Or around here, there's an explosion of people with Parkinson's. You wouldn't believe how many clients I had when I worked in corporate America that would come in 1 month, and a few months later, I would hear that they passed away. There is an explosion that nobody's addressing. Nobody's actually talking about it. What's causing it? Why are so many people being diagnosed with it? And why is nobody building apartments that can accommodate people with aging in place? Now, when you think about a hotel, for example, they have ADA rooms. I have a relative that's in a wheelchair. When they go to a hotel, they have a room that's ADA compliant. They have a safe shower to roll in and out of or to get in and out of with the grab bars, with the hand sprayer. Even my gym. When I go to the gym, there's 4 showers, and the end one, the other 3 are really tiny. I'm talking like 32 by 32 square. It's horrible, but the last one there, it's got a bench seat. You could get in and out if you're in a wheelchair, and it's got a hand sprayer instead of the shower head being way up high that you can't adjust. So, that's what I'm talking about when I say aging in place, ADA compliant, those types of things. Nobody is building around here anyway apartment complexes that are ADA compliant. Nobody is building apartments that have aging in place accessible accommodations. Grab bars, showers instead of tubs, things like that. There's a lot more. Those are just the 2 basic things that people think of when they think of aging in place. And it really does make you wonder. All the people living in these places now, of course, are probably young. They're working folks. They're probably got really good jobs that they can pay the $2,500, $3,000 a month rent. Because these are not subsidized apartments. Everybody living in these places is going to age, because we all do. But they're apartments. They're not owned. They're not owned by the people living there. They're just apartments. That's going to become a problem. Because if we have more young people than elderly people, and right now we're fine. We have nice, accessible senior citizen living complexes. We have apartments for seniors. But what happens when all these young people are aged out of their own apartment? Just imagine one day you wake up. You wake up with knee pain. You wake up with a chronic illness that you never had. Your joints are inflamed. You can barely move. You're stiff. You're not as flexible as you once were. Oh, trust me, these things creep up on us. Believe me, right? Now, you can't get up those stairs anymore like you used to, and the elevator's always busy, and you race off to work, and you run down the stairs trying to get to work because you can't wait for that elevator with the other, 4,000 people living in the units or whatever. So now guess what? You have to move. If all the building lots and all the buildings are taken already, where is there going to be room for our senior citizens to live where they're safe and comfortable? I'm just putting that out there. I think about this every single day. I'm only in my 50s. I don't want to go up and down stairs anymore. I do it because I have to. But there will come a day where I'm just going to be like, you know what? Either move me downstairs or move out, because how? See what I'm saying? Like, I have relatives with problems in wheelchairs, back problems, neck problems, can't walk well anymore. They would never be able to come here and get up and down these stairs. That's what I'm talking about. When you're young and vibrant, you don't think about these things. You think you're invincible. I was there once, I know. But it hits you when it hits you, and your body does what it wants. Sometimes You can avoid it. Maybe some people go to the gym, try to eat a right lifestyle and all that, but guess what? Your body's going to do what it wants anyway. My uncle, for example, he never planned on a disease that would take his spinal cord. He had to quit working when he was 25 years old. He now has a house that can accommodate his needs, an elevator, but he went years living in a tiny little place on a 1-story building so he could get in and out safely. These are things that people don't think about when they're young, me included. So I'm just putting that out there. Where is everybody going to go when everybody is older and there's no safety nets in place in these giant apartment buildings, and yet there's no place else left? Because if you only have capacity for, say, 1,000 seniors, and I'm not quoting that, I don't know the actual number, but just hypothetically, right? You have 1,000 seniors that have apartments right now. As the younger generation gets older, 1,000 of them are going to be moving into those places, hypothetically, right? But now you still have, say, 3,000 left. Where are all the other 3,000 people going? Food for thought.